before I go into the actual interface and the demo and how it works, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about the engagement trends that we're seeing and how you can use micropolling, what we do, to be as successful as possible. So before we get into this, we have just a couple slides. All right. Great. So the first one I want to talk about is the campaign advocacy trends that we've kind of seen over the past 16 years, and really focus on the outreach engagement that peer-to-peer texting has really opened up. With this peer-to-peer texting, it's made it possible to now reach everyone. If you don't know the brands, it's Hustle, Relay, Rumble Up, and what it allows you to do is that you have peer-to-peer, as in you have someone on your end being able to send out these text messages and answer. So with a team of volunteers, you can talk to hundreds or even possibly thousands of people simply through responding to various text messages. Some of the difficulties we've seen with peer-to-peer text messaging is it's difficult to manage without a team of volunteers and can often be quite expensive, especially at a larger scale. So it's often saved for day of get out the vote efforts. Can also potentially be seen as unsolicited or annoying. But the implications of this kind of outreach and being able to reach everyone is really remarkable, and it's what we see what we're building off of with micropolling. So micropolling is what we do, and what we're saying is hearing from everyone is now possible. Micropolling is mass public opinion gathering through viral single issue surveys, with the ability to reach everyone with peer-to-peer texting, and obviously people being more digitally native in politics as well as advocacy, and more people being on their cell phones, and even just the trend of people caring more about issues that are relevant to them. So with micropolling, we take what you can do with peer-to-peer messaging, and we incorporate email as well as social media, and we focus on asking a single question. We send out unique links that people can answer directly inside of the email and then click to share, and also leave private comments and verify that they are residents of your legislative district. And with this, we've seen engagement that is absolutely through the roof. We focused mainly on email to date, but our standard response rate is somewhere between 20 and 30%, and oftentimes higher. And we've also gotten 50% contact list growth on really viral questions just by running it on their social media. So a lot of people ask, and I think this is a great question, why? Why is it so effective? Why is it so responsive? And why a question? And shouldn't we just be telling them to contact their legislators or donate? And what it comes down to is really that asking someone for their opinion is the most engaging thing that you can do as an organization. People want to be heard. They want to feel a part of what you're doing instead of just being told what to do. And if you do it well, it's authentic, it's actionable, and it's relevant. And this small ask can lead to a much larger vested interest in your cause or campaign down the road. So we have on this slide just comparing a couple different call to actions. One of them is an email from us asking residents what they think about snow shoveling. You can compare that to what a traditional call to action would be to contact your legislator on the same issue. And with a question, you can send it out to a much larger audience and build your brand and your recognition as an organization or candidate who cares about a given issue. It's a much easier ask, so you'd see 10 times higher engagement. And you also can allow people to share and quantify all this data yourself as a way to advocate for that issue. So micropolling and how we've seen it, when is it the most effective, and how can you be successful using it? What we've really seen it being good for is introducing a candidate or issue and building awareness about issues by how it can spread, advocating for legislation with the data that's collected. As a legislator, it's a great way to understand top concerns, and obviously the viral activity is great for growing your base and building an audience, and you can boost as well. So the first issue, introducing a candidate or issue, this was a project we worked on with the City of Newton, where they're introducing Newton Power Choice, which is adding additional renewable energy into the city's electricity supply and allowing citizens the opportunity to opt up to additional renewable electricity. So I'm actually going to use this as an example and switch over to our dashboard here. All right. Hopefully everyone's still with me. So here's our representative interface dashboard. I'm currently signed in as Mayor Ruth Ann Fuller. I'm going to go to the home screen real quick just to give everyone a chance to look at it from the top. So here's the home page. We have the ability to create a question, and then once you've created a question, you can share it with your audience that you've pulled in through one of our integrations. You can email it to specifically targeted people, schedule when to send it, post it on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and as I mentioned before, we're also adding the ability to boost it through peer-to-peer messaging. So what one of these emails looks like as you receive it is you get something like this in your inbox. Poll, would you be willing to pay more on your electricity bill? And end users can click to answer directly inside of the email. They can also get background information about that topic. And once they've answered, they can leave a comment and are prompted to share it themselves. All right, so here's the dashboard of responses. So for this email campaign, we sent it out twice and also posted it on social media, and we had the help of a few other groups sending out the question to their own networks, and we received almost 3,400 responses. These responses can also be tied to verified residents. You could check in their location. We could filter it by which ward that they belong to. And then we also collected over 500 comments on this issue. And that was a great way for the city and the mayor to understand what the top concerns were. So here's an example of how we can zoom in a little bit on a specific area of Newton and see how this section might have changed how they voice their opinion on the issue. So what ended up happening with this campaign was that Newton became the city with the highest opt-in rate for renewable electricity in the state of Massachusetts. And a large part of that was our ability to target updates back out to people based on how they responded. So what we actually did last week was send out a follow-up update to everyone who responded that they were interested in paying additional extra for electricity. And so this update went back out to everyone via email, pointing them to the link where they can opt out. And on the engagement page, this tracks the numbers. Right now it's tracking email. So this update that we sent out was sent 3 days ago, and we sent it to 2,000 people. And just by being targeted to the right audience, it absolutely just exploded over the past couple days and drove another 300 people towards that web form to opt into more electricity. So this was a really big success for us in terms of being able to segment supporters and target them to both opt up to additional renewable energy and reach out to their friends and neighbors to do the same. Oh, wrong thing. So quit that out. The next one I wanted to focus on was advocating for legislation. We worked with the Massachusetts Nurses Association during their bid for adding safe limits to the number of patients that a nurse could take on. This was a ballot question in Massachusetts in November. And this is a good instance of how you can use this to engage as a union with your members and drive support. So let's switch accounts. So the initial question that the MNA asked for was just the question that they wanted to put on the ballot: should nurses have a maximum limit on the number of patients they're assigned to care for at one time? And they imported this to their member list and sent it out to all of them that way. And they also ran the question on their Facebook page and boosted the post on Facebook and that brought in over 1,000 new emails of supporters on this issue because people were sharing it on Facebook and seeing it pop up. So here's just a quick heat map of support for this issue with members of the Massachusetts Nurses Union. And this is an easy way to filter by different cities and be able to say, look, here's what 100 or 200 nurses in Brockton think about adding limits. And one of the great things about this tool was how it was used to pull in testimonials. So we have a couple here. 270 people commented on it. A lot of individual personal responses from nurses talking about why they feel that this will be a good thing, and we were able to use this as part of the campaign. One of the more recent questions that ended up coming out, and as a way to understand top concerns, we had a state legislator in Connecticut run a question on a highway toll bill and sent it out to his constituents, and it ended up actually making the local news, and it drove a ton of additional action, and people pointed towards that question to answer it. So here was the question for that one. What they asked, this was Rep. Nicole Claris Ditria of Connecticut. She's a state representative. Are you in favor of placing 82 tolls throughout Connecticut? And as they can see, they included background information and updated people based on how they responded. And of the people that responded, over half of them came from outside their initial network, and they were able to bring those people back into their database of contacts and follow up with them that way. So 555 people responded, and the emails only went out to 900 people, and of those, 240 people clicked. So just under half the people who responded were brought in from social media and just viral activity of people sharing it, and obviously seeing the local news story on it. And last but not least, I want to share an example of how this can really grow your base. We worked with the town of Orangetown, and they've ran 2 questions so far, which combined have brought in a 50% increase of contacts into their database without any boosting on social media. So there's a lot of ways in which this can grow your base. The big one that we've seen so far is just organic word of mouth from people wanting to participate and share this question with their friends and their neighbors. But it's also, you could spend some money to boost it geographically on social media, and you can also boost this on the voter file, like we mentioned, with peer-to-peer messaging, and really spread this to a new audience that way. So for this example, they've ran 3 questions so far. The first one that they ran was asking residents if they wanted to implement a fenced off-leash dog park. Over 900 people responded to the question, and of those, about 500 were completely brand new contacts that shared the question on Facebook, on Twitter, and were obviously in support of a dog park and excited about being able to contribute their own thoughts on this issue. So here was the email outreach that we did, which got a 24% response rate from 493 people, and again, almost an additional 500 people came from outside of the existing network. So it's a great way to use viral questions to grow your base, and also, if you'd like, spend some additional money or time boosting the post by getting it placed in local papers with op-eds, boosting it with P2P messaging, and advertising and sponsoring it on social media. So those are our main examples of how this has been used very successfully to gather just a massive amount of input from people in a way that just really currently wasn't possible before. Um, and with that, I'd like to open up to any questions if people wanted to um, let us know what they think, or we'd be happy to follow up with individual demos or setting up some test accounts so people can run a free question. Great, thank you. If Oh, great question. Luis is asking how we can integrate this with NGP and Vote Builder. It is actually incredibly simple. I'm here on the dashboard. We have integrations up here on the top. And yes, there absolutely is a way to integrate this data back into NGP Van. So we actually just got approval for an NGP Van. Here's all of our integrations. We work with MailChimp, Constant Contact, Nation Builder, NGP Van. So in order to pull it in, what you do is you have to put in a request with Van. There's a request API key. Can we add on? Yes, we can add on Nation Builder. So there's a request API key, and you can submit this within the interface for Vote Builder, which we're happy to help out with. But once you receive that and input the key, it connects directly to either your My Campaign or your My Voters, and you can import contacts as well as set it up so it automatically adds new people back into your My Campaign. So yes, this integrates directly with voter files and your campaign segmentations that you have that way. And same thing with Vote Builder. You can pull people in based on tags that you have segmented in Nation Builder, and add new people back into your system that way. Um, if we have some time, I might run through a quick example of. Oh, here's another one. Oh, I'm not a tech or IT guy. What kind of support do you give to clients that are in my situation? Yeah, this is absolutely great question. We are completely hands-on as you need us to be. I will happily work as an admin. We'll happily work as admins with your accounts. We can provide assistance in drafting a question, making sure we import all of your contacts incorrectly, and having them sent out. We'd be happy to even send some referrals from other customers that we worked with to let you know that we can really be as hands-on or as hands-off as you'd like to make sure that this is as successful as possible for you. No problem. we have a little bit of time left, so let me see if I can give a. Oh, what we used to drive constituent contacts to legislators over multiple districts yet. Do you envision offering that capability? Um, could you explain what you mean by um, over multiple districts? We do allow anyone to respond to a question, and we can filter the responses by various legislative districts. So I think the answer is yes. Just want to make sure that I'm understanding the question correctly. Let me see if I can actually pull up an example. So when people respond, we do try to verify that they are a resident of the district of the legislator, but we accept responses from outside of that district, and we can zoom in. So for the example, this is District 4 in Boston, but we can look at a whole bunch of different district locations that we add, and you can manage your districts that way to see where people are answering from outside of your specific boundary. Great. Anything else? I'm happy to walk through an example of creating a question and how it looks to answer it on the user end. We do have a few more minutes left if people would be interested in that. And we can keep answering questions along the way. I'm sure Caleb can answer in the chat as well. Okay, so I'll just quickly walk through creating a question. We offer multiple translations, so you can create a question in English, have it translated into various languages, and depending on the end user's language preference, they can answer that way. This has been a great way for us to try to reach people who are typically, very difficult to hear from, and it's something that we continually strive to push um, to bring in more responses that way. So, enter a single sentence question. And in the background information, you can include whatever you'd like. We typically ask to make it personal so people feel like they're really hearing directly from you and responding directly to you. Include links to additional information, or if you're trying to send them to a particular page, this would be the place to do it. But I'm just going to go with that. Send a test email to myself. All right, here's the test email. Click to answer. Leave a comment. And then this is an ask where people can be added to what we mean by additional communication. This is where people can choose to opt into your own newsletters and databases through Vote Builder, Nation Builder, Mailchimp, etc. Continue. And then I'm prompted to share it on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And if I was answering on my mobile device, I would also be prompted to share it through Facebook Messenger. And this is where we really see the call to action to share has been a great way to bring in that additional growth and reach new supporters. So if we go back to let me just save this. So if I wanted to send this out to all of our contacts, once they're imported, it's as simple as just selecting the groups here and pressing send. I already answered the test question. I guess the district I chose for the test was in Alabama, and then you could see the comment that I left and personal information about me and what activity that I've done within your software. And again, this can be posted directly to Facebook, Twitter as well, and all of that activity is pulled into the same place. And these images are totally customizable. We actually have a default one that includes your logo and the question that you're asking. And it's just been incredibly an engaging way to bring more people in. So this is customizable. And so is the header, and you can add your own logo to the email template as well. But awesome. Thank you, everybody, for participating. I'll be hanging around for a couple extra minutes here if anyone has any other questions. But yeah, this has been great. Thanks for all the comments, and looking forward to hopefully working with all of you.